Sourdough bagels are fluffy, chewy, and have a great flavor. I use the recipe from Clever Carrot, and they come out perfect every time. The possibilities for toppings are also endless. They also freeze really well, so I love to put them in the freezer to have ready whenever we want a fresh bagel. If you plan on trying this recipe, I highly recommend reading Clever Carrot's blog. She has a lot of tips and tricks to help you to determine the best way to make these depending on your climate and environment. Using a food scale, you'll start with 150 grams of active sourdough starter. Then add 250 grams of warm water, 24 grams of sugar, 9 grams of sea salt, and 500 grams of unbleached bread flour. I love to use King Arthur flour for these. Then you will mix all ingredients together until it forms a shaggy and dry dough. I like to mix until most of the dry pockets of flour are gone. Then you cover with a towel for an hour and then shape into a ball. This is just ensuring there's no more dry pockets of flour left. Then this is going to need to bulk rise overnight on your countertop. You'll need some plastic wrap lightly coated in oil and cover it with a lid. Mine took about 12 hours and it doubled in size. This is the next morning. I like to put my dough in the fridge for about an hour at this point to chill, just so it's easier to work with. After an hour, you want to flatten out your dough and divide it evenly into 8 equal pieces. You can use a food scale for this if you want them to be precise, but I just eyeball it. Then you will take each section of dough and roll them into a ball by pinching the sides in and rolling them on a surface until there's tension. You will then cover these with a kitchen towel for about 10 to 15 minutes to develop the gluten. After that point, it's time to shape your bagels. There are many ways to do this, but I prefer just poking a hole and stretching them. Then you will cover them with a damp towel for about 20 minutes. At this point, I get my water ready on the stove with about a tablespoon of honey to start boiling, and I get my toppings ready. We're just doing plain and everything bagels today. Once the water starts to lightly boil, you add your bagels and flip them after 30 seconds. You want to do 30 seconds on each side. Then once they're still wet, I like to stretch them out one more time and roll them in any preferred toppings. You could also do cinnamon sugar, cheese, whatever you want. After all the bagels have been boiled and topped, they go in the oven at 425 for 20 to 25 minutes. You'll definitely want to try one of these fresh, but if you are planning on freezing, you want to make sure they're totally cool before you place them in a freezer-safe bag. These should keep in the freezer for up to 2 months.